Hey everyone, ready to dive into some more fascinating insights about, well, money?
Always ready for that.
Well, today we're taking a look at a classic, The Millionaire Next Door, by Thomas J. Stanley and William D. Danko.
Oh, a good one. A real eye-opener, that's for sure.
Yeah, it really flips the script on what we think we know about millionaires.
It does. It's like, forget the mansions and the sports cars.
Yeah, this book shows us that a lot of millionaires live surprisingly normal lives.
Like right next door, blending right in. It's funny because it's so true.
So that got me thinking, why would someone who's built all this wealth choose to live, I don't know, almost like frugally?
Well, I think it boils down to understanding the real difference between like having a high income versus actually building wealth.
And that's what this book really dives into, right?
Absolutely. You see, you can have someone earning a hefty salary, maybe a high-powered lawyer,
Right, six figures easy.
but if they're constantly spending, keeping up with trends and all that, their net worth might not be as impressive as you'd think.
It's not just about what you earn, it's about what you keep, right?
100%. Now picture this, a small business owner.
Okay, like a local plumber or something.
Exactly. Someone who's diligently reinvesting those earnings, maybe buying some rental properties, living below their means. Over time,
They might end up wealthier than the high earner.
it happens more than you'd think. And that's where the concept of frugality comes in.
Okay, so we're not talking about being cheap.
No, not at all. It's about being mindful, really understanding where your money is going.
Makes sense.
It's like these millionaires, they're not necessarily depriving themselves, but they're incredibly intentional with their spending.
So it's like prioritizing long-term financial security over like flashy things, right?
Absolutely. I mean, you'd think a millionaire would be constantly upgrading to the newest, biggest everything.
New car every year, a huge house.
But there's this great example in the book, a millionaire who lived in the same modest home for decades. Instead of buying bigger and bigger houses, he invested his money. That was his priority.
Interesting. It's like he was breaking free from that whole keeping up with the Joneses mentality.
It's a real trap, that feeling like you got to buy expensive stuff just to impress other people.
Totally.
And the book highlights how those luxury purchases, especially if they're fueled by debt, can actually decrease your net worth.
Yeah, you're just digging yourself deeper into a hole.
And the interesting thing is, this whole idea of being intentional, it goes beyond just money.
Oh, you mean like our time and energy too?
Exactly. The Millionaire Next Door emphasizes how millionaires value their time and energy just as much as their money. Maybe even more.
Which makes sense. You can always earn more money, but time, once it's gone, it's gone.
Right. And the book talks about how these millionaires, they structure their lives to really maximize those resources.
They're not wasting time on things that don't align with their goals.
Exactly. Whether that's growing their businesses, investing, or spending time with family.
I remember reading about families who held like monthly budget meetings.
Yeah. Might sound a bit intense to some people, but it shows a real commitment to planning.
It's like they're treating their personal finances with the same seriousness as a business.
Exactly. Regular check-ins, making adjustments. And, this approach carries over to how they raise their kids, too.
Oh, right. The book talks about how, constantly bailing out adult children can be detrimental.
It creates this unhealthy dependence. The kids never really learn financial responsibility.
So it's about empowering them with those skills rather than just handing them money.
Exactly. Imagine a parent helping their child save for a down payment instead of just buying a house for them.
That's a much more valuable lesson.
Right. It teaches them about planning, hard work, delayed gratification, all essential skills for building a solid financial future.
And that brings us to another interesting point from the book. The prevalence of entrepreneurship among millionaires.
Oh, yeah, a lot of them are self-made, right?
Exactly. They built their wealth through their own businesses. It challenges this idea that you need a fancy degree or a corporate job to become wealthy.
I mean, some might, but it's definitely not the only path.
So what's the secret?
Well, often it's about identifying a niche, becoming an expert in that area, and then building a business around it.
So that it could be something small,
Yeah.
even starting as a side hustle.
Absolutely. Like, imagine someone starting a small landscaping business.
Okay, I can see that.
And through hard work, smart decisions, they grow it into a thriving company.
And eventually, they become a millionaire.
It's all about that entrepreneurial spirit, taking risks, putting in the effort.
And that ties back to the key distinction we talked about earlier.
Yeah.
Income versus wealth.
Right. And the book really drives this point home. High-income earners can easily fall into the trap of lavish spending.
While millionaires, They're more focused on building their net worth.
It's not just about the paycheck. It's about making smart choices with your money.
Right. So you could have a doctor earning a huge salary.
Yeah, living the seemingly luxurious life.
But then you have a teacher who diligently invests, lives below their means.
And guess who might end up with the higher net worth in the long run?
The teacher, right.
It's a classic example from the book. It shows how building wealth is less about how much you make and more about the choices you make. Welcome back. We're still digging into The Millionaire Next Door.
And man, this book is packed with advice.
Yeah.
Like practical stuff you can actually use.
Right. It's not just theory. It's based on real people, real millionaires.
And one of the biggest takeaways for me is this: building wealth. It's a marathon, not a sprint.
I like that analogy. Slow and steady wins the race.
Exactly. And that's where investing comes in. It's like one of the key tools in the Millionaire's toolkit.
Absolutely. And The Millionaire Next Door really emphasizes the power of long-term investing.
It's not about trying to get rich quick.
No, it's about having that long-term vision.
But I'm being patient.
Patience is key. These millionaires, they're not chasing after the latest fads or trying to time the market.
They're in it for the long haul.
Exactly. They understand that market fluctuations are normal. They ride the waves.
And you know what really blew my mind? The concept of compound interest.
Oh, yeah, it's like magic.
Seriously.
Yeah.
It's like this secret weapon that most people don't fully grasp.
I know. It's like even small, consistent investments can grow significantly over time.
Because you're earning interest on your interest.
It's like a snowball rolling downhill. It starts small, but it keeps getting bigger and bigger.
And it's all thanks to the power of compound interest.
Exactly. But here's the thing. It takes discipline. You got to resist the urge to cash out early.
Yeah, gotta let that snowball roll.
Right. Stay focused on those long-term goals.
So it's like having a financial roadmap.
I love that. It keeps you on track even when there are bumps in the road.
Speaking of roadmaps, the book also talks about the importance of setting clear financial goals.
Oh, that's crucial. You can't just say, I want to be rich.
Yeah, gotta be specific.
Exactly. These millionaires, they have measurable goals. They want to buy a vacation home, retire early, whatever it might be.
They have a target in mind.
Right. And they break it down into smaller, achievable steps. It's not just about dreaming big, it's about making a plan to get there.
So it's like building a house, brick by brick.
I like that. Each smart financial decision, each investment, each act of frugality, it's another brick.
And it all starts with being proactive.
Absolutely. These millionaires aren't sitting around waiting for things to happen. They're taking charge of their financial lives.
They're making conscious choices every single day.
It's like they're the captain of their own financial ship.
And they know exactly where they want to go.
This proactive mindset is a huge part of what the book calls financial independence.
Okay, so we're not just talking about being wealthy.
Right. Financial independence means having enough wealth to cover your expenses without relying on a paycheck.
So you have the freedom to choose how you spend your time.
Exactly. You're not tied to a job just to pay the bills.
That's true freedom.
It's about having options.
And pursuing your passions without financial constraints.
It might seem like a dream, but this book shows it's possible.
So how do we get there?
One key ingredient is living below your means.
Okay, again, we're not talking about deprivation.
No, it's about being mindful, making conscious choices about spending.
Breaking free from that keeping up with the Joneses mentality.
Exactly. You know, true happiness doesn't come from stuff. It comes from living a life aligned with your values.
And these millionaires, they get that.
They do. They're often incredibly content with what they have.
It's like they've cracked the code to contentment.
They're not chasing after the next big thing. They appreciate the simple things.
Spending time with loved ones, pursuing hobbies.
It's a refreshing perspective, especially in today's consumer-driven world.
It's all about balance.
Yeah.
Enjoying life, but also making smart financial choices.
Right. Setting yourself up for long-term security and happiness.
You know, this idea of balance, it extends to relationships too.
Oh, absolutely. The book highlights the importance of strong networks.
Having mentors, colleagues, friends, family who support you.
Exactly. They understand that success is rarely a solo journey.
It's about collaboration.
And giving back, too. A lot of these millionaires are really philanthropic.
They want to use their wealth to make a difference.
It's inspiring. They support education, fund research, fight for social justice.
It's about recognizing that wealth comes with responsibility.
And we can all do our part, even if we're not millionaires. Volunteering, donating, just being kind and generous.
It all makes a difference. And it brings us back to this idea of true wealth.
It's about so much more than just money.
It's about living a life of meaning and purpose.
And that's a powerful message for all of us.
Welcome back to our final look at The Millionaire Next Door. I gotta say, this book has been a real eye-opener.
It really makes you rethink those stereotypes about millionaires, doesn't it?
Yeah, like forget the yachts and private jets.
Right. This book shows us that building wealth, it's often about making, well, maybe less glamorous choices, but smarter choices.
Exactly. And, as we wrap up, one thing that keeps coming back to me is this idea of intentionality.
Oh, absolutely. These millionaires, they're not just, hoping for the best. They're actively shaping their financial futures.
They're in the driver's seat, making conscious decisions every step of the way.
It's like they're the architects of their own financial lives. They have a vision and they're putting in the work to build it.
And that intentionality shows up in everything. From budgeting to saving, investing, giving back, it's all connected.
Right. They're not just reacting to circumstances. They're proactively creating the financial lives they want. They're thinking long term.
Absolutely. Like one myth this book really debunks is that financial success is all about, luck or inheritance.
Yeah, it definitely plays a role sometimes, but the book really emphasizes that more often it's about hard work, discipline, and consistently making smart choices.
These millionaires, they didn't win the lottery.
Mm-hmm.
They built their wealth through dedication, perseverance, and a willingness to learn.
And that's empowering, isn't it? It means that financial success is achievable for anyone who's willing to put in the effort.
Right. It's not about where you start. It's about where you're headed and the choices you make to get there.
And one of those destinations that a lot of people strive for is financial independence.
That freedom to live life on your own terms.
Exactly. To pursue your passions, spend time with loved ones, make a difference without being tied to a job you might not love.
It's about having options, right?
Absolutely. And The Millionaire Next Door shows us that it's a real possibility. It starts with building that solid financial foundation, living below your means, investing wisely, and staying focused on your goals.
It's about making choices today that will pay off in the future.
Creating a life of abundance, not just financially, but also in terms of time, choice, and freedom to pursue what truly matters to you.
And, thinking back on everything we've discussed, I think it's important to remember that true wealth, it's about more than just money.
It's about living a life of meaning and purpose.
Nurturing relationships, giving back to your community, those things are invaluable.
Right. It's about finding joy in the simple things, pursuing your passions, and making a positive impact on the world.
And that's something we can all strive for, regardless of our income or net worth. So, as we close out our deep dive into The Millionaire Next Door, remember those lessons. Embrace frugality, invest wisely, seek advice when you need it, and most importantly, live intentionally.
Make choices that align with your values, chase those dreams, and don't be afraid to define success on your own terms. Because true wealth isn't just about the numbers in your bank account, it's about the richness of your life.
And on that note, we'll wrap up our deep dive into The Millionaire Next Door. We hope you found this exploration as insightful as we did, and that it sparked some ideas about how you can create a life of true wealth, both financially and personally. Thanks for joining us.